Slovenia is a small country, located in south-central Europe. Mother Nature gives this land a unique charm. On October 20th, 2011, at the Castle of Bordo, the President of Slovenia, Dr. Danilo Turk, gave an exclusive interview to the CCTV documentary channel.
Torej, mene to snemanje izjemno veseli. Vedno si predstavljam, kako je videti identiteta Slovenije v očeh pripadnikov nacije, pripadnikov civilizacije, ki je stara 3000 let. Kitajska civilizacija je v Evropi nasploh in tudi v Sloveniji močno cenjena in spoštovana kot civilizacija z izjemno dolgo zgodovino. In verjamem, da ljudje na Kitajskem, ki bodo gledali ta film, bodo lahko primerjali evropske posebnosti, ki so nekaj drugega od azijskih posebnosti in zlasti od kitajskih.
"54 kilometers to the south of Slovenia's capital, Ljubljana, lies a small town called Postojna. It came into existence because it was right on the ancient trade route in Europe. Today, a special concert is to be held here. And the venue is not a concert hall, where generally concerts are held, but a cave at the foot of a mountain. This underground concert hall is known far and wide. Many celebrated musicians and conductors have come to perform. For tonight's concert, workers are building a temporary stage. This cave is about 3,000 square meters in size and 40 meters in height. It can hold 10,000 people. A concert in the cave is much different from ones held in concert halls. Because of the special substance of the karst cave, an echoing sound can last for up to 15 seconds. So the cave environment befits melodic pieces of classical music. But most tourists don't come only for the concert. What attracts them more is an unusual underground world. A 20-kilometer-long cave system connects numerous caves of various sizes. A huge network of underground passages is thus created. The concert hall is a part of it. As mystical as a meandering labyrinth, the cave system is also as magnificent as a palace.
The white one is approximately 5 meters high, the highest stalagmites in the world. There are 2 of them. One is in South China, the other one is in Cuba.
Together with the adjacent stalactite columns, the stalagmite stands as the perfect example of the karst landscape of Postonia Cave. It is also the chief scenic spot here.
As you probably know, we are in the
Stanja
middle
is
of
a
a
tour
karst
guide
area.
of Postonia Cave.
Karst was originally
He is also
named
an
for a
expert
sort of
on
local
caves.
limestone area somewhere
According to
to
Stan,
the east
this
of
miraculous
Italy.
underground labyrinth was discovered 200 years ago by chance.
Notranje dele Postojnske jame je odkril Luka Čeč. Odkril naj bi jih 14. aprila 1818 leta.
Throughout the history of Europe, Postonia has always been a mystical place. In the 12th century, some open caves at the surface of the earth were found in this region. A river would suddenly disappear into the ground. This strange phenomenon puzzled many, bringing fame to Postonia. In 1818, the Austrian Emperor Francis I decided to visit this mystical land. At that time, Slovenia was then included in the Austrian Empire. For welcoming the emperor, local villagers decorated the caves. On April 14th, a villager named Luka Ček was assigned to put up a banner inside the cave. Luka decided to find the highest and most noticeable spot.
Preplezal je torej tole steno, ki je nad nami, tule nad seveda podzemno pivko.
Luka climbed onto this huge rock cliff. Suddenly he saw an entrance to a cave behind the cliff. Cautiously, he went into the cave, but he could never have imagined that his curiosity would lead him to a secret buried under the earth for hundreds of thousands of years. An exotic world appeared. Luka cried out, "This is a brand new world. This is heaven." Postonia Cave is nature's masterpiece. It epitomizes the combination of beauty and mystery.
The colors are completely different, and if you'll use your imagination, you will see right there in the middle a mother and her child. Just use your imagination. There's a mother and her child. Sides, so there are more soil layers above us.
This is the biggest chamber in the Postonia cave system. The drop height from top to bottom is 115 meters, about the height of a 30-story building. There is even a hill over 120 meters long, 80 meters wide, and nearly 60 meters tall. It came into existence because of the collapse of the ceiling.
No, ta dvorana je seveda podornega nastanka, strop se je večkrat podrl, nazadnje naj bi se to zgodilo na tem mestu pred približno 20.000 leti.
What happened 20,000 years ago was only a minor incident in the whole formation process of Postonia Cave. Slovenia lies on the edge of the Pannonian Plain, which in prehistoric time was nothing but an ocean. About 70 million years ago, The ancient Pannonian Sea area went through a dramatic diastrophic movement. Seawater settled down while the sea floor was forced out of the water to become mountains, valleys, and the plain. The water kept running through the fractures in the rocks down beneath the ground. The limestone, which was composed primarily of calcium carbonate minerals, was gradually dissolved by water. So after hundreds of thousands of years, the underground world became a cave system with numerous passages and chambers. Over 7,000 caves have now been found beneath Slovenia. Postojna Cave is the biggest one. This is the Pivka River, which eroded out of Postojna Cave. The water seems to be running smoothly, but with the lapse of time, it created a magical underground world. The stalactites hanging from the ceiling and the stalagmites standing on the ground were all derived in the chemical reaction of limestone with water. Stalactites hang on tight to the ceiling, while stalagmites grow like a mighty tree from the ground. When they adjoin, a pillar is formed. The stalactites inside Postojna Cave were born around 500,000 years ago. Most of them are about 50,000 years old. By comparison, the stalagmites came into existence at a later time, around 10,000 years ago. Their speed of growth has been very slow, at about 1 millimeter every 10 years. This stalagmite is about 15,000 years old. If we compare its age to the history of human civilization, this would be the first year of the Common Era. When it grew to this height, it was about the year 1492, when Columbus discovered America. Here is approximately the year 1969, when mankind performed
Cevčice so votle, pač nastanejo tako, da voda polzi po notranji strani in seveda tmenec se odlaga pač v obliki teh obročkov.
The goosepipe stones are the keenest measure of the cave environment. Only when there's no pollution can the pipes be as bright as white jade. The water is like the most gentle, yet sharpest knife. Ancient time has carved out this wondrous palace. For centuries, the cave had lain quietly underneath Postojna before Luca discovered it 200 years ago. Then, people could appreciate its magnificence. The history of Postojna also changed ever since. In 1818, Luca's discovery was big news in Europe. Explorers, scientists, artists, as well as curious tourists came in droves. German explorers were the first to arrive. They named the typical geographical feature of this region for the karst plateau nearby. This was how the word karst became a geographic term. In 1819, the second year after the discovery of Postojna Cave, Luca became the first official tour guide for this underground world. He took odd tourists on a tour with torches and candles. But with the increasing popularity of the cave, rails were laid in 1857 through the main passages. It was to become the world's first cave train for tourists. Among the tourists were kings and queens, politicians and artists, whose signatures have been retained here forever. Here are the signatures of Franz Joseph I of Austria and his wife, Empress Elizabeth of Austria, who is better known as Princess Sisi. The last signature belongs to Tito, the first president of Yugoslavia. There are also numerous tourist signatures on this wall at the entrance to the cave. They have witnessed the history of this small town. Regardless of the changes of the human world, the charm of nature remains the same. Nowadays, Postonia has become a favorite tourist attraction in Europe. Since 1818, Postonia Cave has hosted over 34 million guests. The concert tonight will be performed by the Slovenian Philharmonic Orchestra, which was founded in 1701. It is one of the oldest Philharmonic orchestras in Europe. Right now, musicians are preparing for the concert. Concerts have been held in the concert hall of Postonia Cave for more than 100 years. The best known one was a Pentecost concert during World War II.
Kot zanimivost naj povemo, da so binkošnoslavja, to so bili verski prazniki med obema svetovnima vojnama na začetku 20. stoletja, privabljala v Postojnsko jamo tudi preko 10,000 obiskovalcev.
The war did disturb this quiet underground world. During World War II, the cave was once occupied by the German army and was converted into a secret fuel storage. These stalactites, blackened by the smoke of gunpowder, are mute witnesses to that period of history. In 1939, the Balkan Peninsula was shrouded in the shadow of war. It brought unprecedented disaster for human beings. Just then, psalms praising the Holy Spirit were heard in Postonia Cave. People found solace and hope. Since World War II, holding Pentecost concerts in Postonia Cave has become a local tradition. Nearly 200 years have passed since Luca discovered this cave, but the ancient town of Postonia still attracts explorers. Stan's biggest hobby is caving. When he was 7, he visited Postonia Cave with his parents for the first time. He was fascinated by what he saw, which also set up a bond between him and the cave. Stan has already spent over 30 years exploring the caves. As a sport which combines the fun of recreation with the seriousness of science, caving has become very popular in the Karst Plateau region. Stan has a lot of admiration for Luca. To him, Luca not only discovered a world of an underground cave system, but also a living one. "13 years after discovering Postonia Cave, Luca, now a tour guide, came across a beetle with antennae inside the cave. This little creature, which had never been spotted before, caught his attention. Later, 130 kinds of cave creatures were discovered, which introduced a brand new area of study, biospeleology. The most famous cave creature in Postonia Cave is none other than a creature seen here. Its body is snake-like and about 30 centimeters long. Scientifically called the olm, it's a very delicate creature with neither scales nor webbed feet. When it was first discovered, it was nicknamed human fish. Being the only species of chordate living in the cave in Europe, the life of olms can last for 100 years. It's said that even without any food consumption, they can live for up to 10 years. Olms live in the dark and cold cave water. They don't have eyes. Like most cave creatures, their demands for sustaining life are kept at the bare minimum. The caves also have a special connection with human beings. In Postonia Cave, archaeologists have found traces of human life from about 500,000 years ago. Ancient people in Slovenia sought shelter in this cave. This may be one of the most indestructible among all the existing castles in Europe. The cliffs of over 100 meters form a natural barrier. This castle is joined with the caves. Behind it lie rather complicated cave passages. The deepest cave may be over 10 kilometers deep and is the extension of the complete Postonia cave system. The complicated passages served as both secret paths for hiding and escaping, and crucial supply routes. Most importantly, there is sufficient water supply inside the caves, so one can never be besieged inside this castle. The Prodjama Castle was built in the 12th century. During its history, it had dozens of masters, most of whom were eminent royal and knight families. The ancient cave not only protected its hosts, but also witnessed hundreds of years of fighting on this land. Many a time, the chaos of the battles could be heard inside the cave. The concert given by the Slovenian Philharmonic Orchestra has begun. The repertoire tonight includes the works of Bach and Mozart. Once again, music is heard in the depth of the earth. This special musical feast sings songs for nature and life. It takes the audience back through time and space back to the underground world hidden in silence for millions of years. Yet nature never stops its magical creation. Neither does human exploration.